If you've never missed a flight, you likely spend a lot of time in airports. That would be me. I am a pretty seasoned business traveler. I get there early, rarely check my bags, and I know the rules to follow to get through security with ease. But last week, I learned more business lessons in one almost missed connection back home. I just finished training with one of my second stage businesses on hardwiring and had lots of time to spare to make my first flight out of a small airport in Tennessee. I knew that my 35-minute layover in Atlanta back home to Michigan would be a challenge, but it was important that I get home that evening. You see, my nephew, who is also my godson, was having their wedding shower the next morning. I also needed to drive 4 hours the next morning to get there. If you've never been to the Atlanta airport, it is presently the world's largest and busiest airport. Here's where it gets interesting. My connection flight back home was scheduled to take off at 8:30 p.m. We landed at 7:55 p.m., so I thought I had plenty of time to make my way across the airport. However, by the time the flight got to the gate, it's about 8:05 p.m. We all huddled in the jet bridge, anxiously looking at our phones on the time, waiting for our carry-ons to be unloaded. It was a small plane, so we had to check our carry-ons plane side. You could tell by the frequent glances at their phones just how many other passengers had to catch their connections. Finally, it's around 8:12 p.m. and boarding began for my connection 15 minutes ago. Just then, I see my bag, snatch it and look for the monitor to confirm my gate assignment. One quick look around and I realized I was in Terminal E. My connection is in Terminal A. Once I descended from the jet bridge, I had to navigate the long escalator to catch the people mover to the next terminal. Rather than waiting for the escalator to take me down, I started to quickly move down the escalator until I ran into a group of people. Noticing my urgent need to move ahead, one nice man stepped aside so I could continue walking down the escalator stairs. However, I was quickly stopped by a flood of other passengers on the escalator in front of me. Business lesson 1. Even with your best laid plans, there will be barriers to moving ahead. Practice patience. As we both shrugged seeing I couldn't move ahead, I just waited. I finally got to the platform to witness the people mover's doors close. Time is ticking. It's now about 8:15 p.m. I looked down the long hallway, looked to my right, and noticed a pilot to my right. I thought to myself, would it be faster if I run to the next terminal or wait for the people mover? Figuring the pilot likely navigates the airport frequently, I asked him if he knew how long until the next train would be there. In the next couple of seconds, he replied. We exchanged pleasantries, and he assured me I would make my flight. Sure enough, the next people mover arrived, and I hopped on. Business lesson 2. Ask your resources for help in solving problems. It's now about 8:20 p.m., and I'm making my way from Terminal C to Terminal A. Every second counted. The doors on the people mover opened to Terminal B. The doors closed and there's a pause. At Terminal B it seemed like an eternity before it took off again. The recorded voice calmly announces Terminal A. Finally, Terminal A. Before the doors were fully opened, I scurried off and see the escalators again to go up to the gates. Just then 2 teenagers cut in front of me and scaled the empty escalator steps to the top. Seeing that I could save some time by doing the same thing, I put my glasses around my neck, had my purse draped across my body, picked up my carry-on, and started to hop 2 steps at a time up the escalator. Stairs. While almost to the top, I realized just how hard I was breathing. In that moment, I was so thankful I had started working out weeks earlier. Business lesson 3. You must serve yourself first in order to sustainably serve others. Business leaders often serve themselves last, making exercising their last priority. It's important to take time to be a fit leader for the times you need to rely on a little extra energy to get through the challenging times. I turned the corner to see gate 19. Breathing rather heavy from scaling the escalator stairs, I looked down the hallway and said aloud, seriously? Immediately I got into action. I put the wheels down on my carry-on and began jogging down the hallway, navigating the other travelers. While jogging in a suit, dress shoes, and my carry-on trailing on the side, it occurred to me I had hung my glasses around my neck, so I touched them to see if they were still there. In that moment, I heard a voice, "Your glasses are still there." Wait, he's talking to me. I whipped around to see a gentleman, smiling and gave a big grin and wave of thanks. Business lesson 4. Notice the humor on the journey. Day 222324. Breathing heavy at this point. Come on, date 34. I went from jog to fast walk to back to jog. Date 303132. Date 33. I'm almost there. The gate is still open, legs don't fail me now. I scoop the boarding pass from my purse. I hand it over to the agent, exclaiming, "I made it." I make my way down the jet bridge, turn the corner in the plane, find room for my luggage, and drop to my seat. By this time, sweat is pouring down my face. A few moments later, I see 2 women get on the plane, they close the gates, and we are taking off. I made it. Business lesson 5. Your possibility is a possibility until it's not. When your goals are clear and meaningful, your decision making becomes easy and you have added incentive to be in action. The next day, we drove 4 hours to be at my nephew and his fiance's wedding shower, which was simply lovely. It's those special moments that make life fulfilling, and you learn some important lessons along the way.